Here we are again with another episode, Live to Inspire podcast. You know who I am, or if you don't, you should get to know me by now. Check out episode 1, or maybe even the one before that, Who Am I? So, as promised, at the end of last week's episode about luck, I mentioned that this week I would be talking about expectations. So my final thought on the last episode was that we should try to trade expectations for appreciations, and that if and when we do so, our life can change almost immediately. So I don't know if anyone took that on board or tried it or thought about it or anyone's got any views on it, but it's something that I found quite poignant. Having been back in the UK for 4 or 5 weeks over the summer, it made me think about my expectations and expectations of others. So there's a few questions. My own perspective, as always. It's not legally binding, but yeah, what are expectations? Like in general, just what are they? For me, it's the thought that someone or something will happen as a result of our actions, or what we anticipate someone or an outcome to be, and that outcome is based on prior knowledge, prior experiences, all sorts of other factors. You know, like if it's a person, what their position is, what their role is, what their relationship is to you, and we would subconsciously, I think, more often than not, have these expectations based on those factors. Now, you could argue that that is entirely acceptable, it's entirely plausible. I will try and obviously give arguments, points of view, more likely, from both sides. Like, it is, like I said, possible to have expectations of people and expectations of outcomes. Equally, could we argue that we shouldn't have expectations of a certain outcome? I'll come on to that in a little bit. Another question: what can we expect of other people? So, very, very common when we're in the workplace, there is, I guess, a sort of subconscious or subliminal expectation of other staff, other co-workers, colleagues, whatever you want to call these people that you work with, that I guess almost whatever you're going to do, they would do the same. Or if I've helped them out, maybe they should then help me out, and it should be reciprocated, and that one could potentially rightly expect support from your colleagues. You know, if you're struggling and you've helped them out, could you expect them to do the same for you? You know, if you're struggling, would you expect them, you know, well, I've helped him, he's helped me. Back in the Bible, don't quote me where it is, but it's the sort of do unto others as do yourself. You know, why would you want to impact someone's life negatively if you can empower people and build them up and make them stronger and help them just in general? Why wouldn't you do that? Because surely that would be then reciprocated and brought back to yourself. I alluded previously in the book Good Vibes, Good Life. It's for me personally, everything that we know, what you give out, you would get back. If you put out good vibes, you get good vibes back. Equally the inverse. If you put out bad vibes, you're feeling negative or you're angry, frustrated, they get exuded. So they're going to come back to you at some point. So could we rightly expect good vibes and positive energy that we give out to come back to us? It's entirely subjective. I think I'm going to go with that. It's entirely subjective that we could or should expect good vibes to return to us. So that's of other people, right? But then the big one, I guess, for me personally is what can we expect of ourselves? Because this, I don't know, like it played on my mind quite a lot when, like I said, I was back in the UK and I wanted to see my friends and catch up with people. And is it right that I would expect people to come to me, but having flown 8 hours or whatever to get back to the UK to see people. Is it right that I could expect people to come and see me of like a 20-minute drive? Don't know. On a physiological point, I've changed my background on my computer to the team and I from our sled push world record, because there was multiple expectations, I guess, in the other 11 people, whoever they were, within the team would also put in as much effort as I was putting in, and that was then obviously reciprocated, that someone else would think, is Dave going to put in as much effort as I'm putting in, and those kind of things. And then collaboratively we worked as a team, and I guess we didn't really have any expectations. Our aim was primarily to raise money for 3 charities that support people with mental health, that are struggling with mental health, and to effectively try and improve their lives. If in the process of doing that we were able to break or set world records, that's another agenda, and that's amazing. So again, like I said, it got me thinking that the expectations we have on ourselves. So for me personally, I always have very high expectations of myself and what I can achieve and what I'm capable of achieving. Always like to have bigger goals and bigger challenges. It hyper focuses my mindset and my day-to-day living, and what I'm eating, how I'm sleeping, where I'm going, who am I spending my time with, anything that can contribute towards me and building my goal and building towards that focus. So is that a good thing? Again, as always, it comes back to the mindset. If you have the growth mindset, then yes, you can find any little positives everywhere. If you have a fixed mindset, you can turn very selfish. It can become almost narcissistic. It can be take, but no give. And that is an interesting one, in that, again, with the expectation of that, I had a very good conversation with a very close friend of mine, and we discussed that when I was doing that, I was completely unaware of my behaviours and my actions and what I was doing, because I was so hyper focused on what I was trying to achieve. I hadn't really given any lateral thought as to how other people would feel, expectations of them, if they were happy, if they were sad, if they were annoyed with me. Like, I had no concept of the impact I was putting on other people. And I feel really bad for it. But again, it took me 18 months at least to figure that out. So the expectations, did other people have expectations of me, my expectations of myself and where I wanted to go? I get frustrated. With myself. I've been on a rugby pitch and incredibly frustrated because my expectations are really, really high as to what I know I'm capable of achieving. But then equally, when I don't meet those expectations, I get really, really annoyed, because I feel like I'm doing everything possible. Like I said, I'm eating, I'm sleeping, I'm seeing physios, I'm seeing coaches, I'm every possible little bit of advice and all those little 1% all the time. I'm trying to build those into my life so that then I can achieve that goal. So it brings about the final sort of point, if you like, or a concept. Expectation is the thief of happiness. And that in a phrase, for me, is really, really powerful. Expectation is the thief of happiness. When you start to comprehend that and then think about, like I said, what are your expectations of yourself, expectations of other people, expectations of situations, expected outcomes, all those things. And if you then put your expectations into that it will be a positive outcome, or you are anticipating an outcome of what other people will do for you, when those expectations are not met, like I said, when I was playing rugby, if you don't meet your expectations, you feel shit. You get really pissed off with it, because you've premeditated an outcome that hasn't happened, and then it's just disappointment, and that expectation hasn't been met. So the solution to that, and I've put here, and I've tried it myself, it's very, very hard. Personally, I struggle with it a lot. So this is the what if. What if we have zero expectations? Is it possible to have zero expectations of outcomes, events, and situations, other people, ourselves? Is it possible to have zero expectations? I don't really know if it's a quantifiable answer. It's entirely subjective. But as a concept, if you feed back into that, the thief of happiness, and then you have zero expectations, the outcome of zero expectations surely would then always be happiness, a positive outcome, because excuse me, you don't have any disappointment. You're not expecting expectations. You're not anticipating a particular outcome. You're not premeditating and preconceiving, making prejudgments as to how people are going to behave, what you feel entitled to. I think I mentioned in last week's episode about luck. It's very easy to be thankful. Thankful? No, that's not the right word. It's very easy to think about what you don't have rather than what you do. And you can get really, really annoyed and upset about that one thing that you don't have because it hasn't met your expectations. I've almost like subconsciously planned this. So just as a concept, I don't know if anyone can try it or has that mindset of zero expectations, but if you have zero expectations, if you expect nothing, then the outcome will always be everything. And for me, that is a massive, massive win. Like, you could almost come across as really blasé, and you're like, you know what, I've got zero expectations. And if someone or something, or like I said, those outcomes have happened, it's going to be a positive, and then you're going to be winning. I have zero expectations of this podcast. I never anticipated doing 31 episodes of just me sat talking to a camera. I think it's bizarre. But I've had really good feedback from people listening. And I find that really empowering and mind-blowing that people listen to my ramblings. So thank you. So zero expectations. And then, like I said, it's blown my mind. And I've got happiness from it. So where possible, again, I'd just like to try and give people ideas in that expectations are the thief of happiness. So the net result is have zero expectations and the outcome will always be happiness. Simple, right? Yeah, I'm not sure where I'm going to go with the next episode, but we will see. Thank you all for listening. Still got the Teddy here. Keeps me company. He's a good man. Look after yourselves. Take care. And remember, we will get there. If not immediately, eventually.